Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima Akasha Zibiri.
Okonjo-Nima.
No, Ngozi Nima. We're all in the Okonjo-Iweala mood today.
You know I don't do galas, but I'm feeling myself. Camera looking well. Today I'm super excited. It's GOC's birthday today.
Happy birthday.
I know he speaks Yoruba well, but GOC is the Delta man.
Really?
I have a Delta paddy, a social journalist, documentary journalist.
Yes.
She's a photographer. She's Igo Ogbobine. Today is her birthday.
Happy birthday,
Igo, you are cross 40, you are getting old. Happy birthday. Many more fruitful years. And
one of my premier clients on Lifestyle with ML. She's just an amazing human being. She's really lovely.
She's been here before the fire.
Oh.
She's been here. She did a documentary on women wearing the hijab. And I was surprised, you know, when they said, I expected it would be a woman doing it. And I was surprised to see her. I was like,
okay.
And you know, she did about 3 or 4 of my friends in the hijab to get, you know.
How you doing,
sorry. This last
No, we passed you. How you doing,
I'm very good, but I really need to appeal to our government and our government officials. The reason many people resort to crime is because basic amenities are not accessible. So yesterday, a friend of mine, her younger sister had a crisis, SS crisis, and so she had to go to the hospital on Sunday. They moved them from the private hospital that they couldn't handle. It was critical. They couldn't find veins. And they used an ambulance to rush her to General Hospital Lasso. And they said she needed to pay 750,000 naira for the critical care unit and deposit 200. So she needed almost $1 million before any attention.
Round it up.
They did not even take her out of the ambulance. Thank God that the lady works in an office that the HMO were responsive and they were able to get her somewhere. So they had to rush her to another hospital. In between that time, they're still trying to be sure that the loss of blood and all of that has not affected brain damage. That is how people die. You know, I was just on the phone trying to call everybody at General Hospital that what can you do? They say there's no bed, they can't do anything. I said, so somebody will sit down in the ambulance and the person will die, and it is just because there is no 750K to pay in a general hospital.
And they just say what? Next
person. They die every day, Morayo. People die because they don't have money.
Name is about numbers. 2 people, 3 people. No
really sad, really sad. How are you doing, Mariam?
I'm doing fine. I was supposed to give out this Igo Ogbobines shout out to lovely lady. There's another person, Ruth Shobande. She's also a member of Lifestyle with ML. Lovely lady as well. I've made friends and sisters just from that community, and I'm so grateful to them. So I'll give you that shout out.
This is a fan of your view. His name is Bello Yusuf Adeni. I met him somewhere in VI. Nice person too. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday, sir. I don't want to mention your company name, is rebranding, but well done.
Okay.
I didn't even check. My phone is not with me today, so I hope I can get it later. But I'm sure somebody already sent messages.
You had a rush this morning, you sweat?
Yeah. These things happen. Anyway, are we good?
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm fine. Doing a lot of work, trying to get things done. I'm going to be visiting some schools today. Lagos State schools, you know, they do this Eco-Excel program they've done for primary schools, and I'm going there to review and see how it's faring and how the teachers are using the tablets properly. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with the Punch. Actually, I wanted to start with Nation first, but let's do Punch to stay. EFCC defends new chair as graft allegations surfaces. Ogun Monarch alleges arms build-up as Makinde Abiodun hosts northern governors. Men in military uniforms arrested with 234 kg drugs. CJ kicks as brother fingers judge over 3-year detention. PDP mocks APC as ex-governor Daniel defects to ruling party. Marketers raise petrol price to 170 naira. Depots suffer shortage. Nigeria moving towards disintegration, Abdusalami warns. Okay, let's take the major headline.
Major headline. So our president surprised us yesterday with a 40-year-old new chairman for the EFCC. He was on level 13, appointed for, for having exemplary character. And then people started to surface some controversy saying that he diverted the proceeds of the sale of 224 trucks in when he was heading the Port Harcourt zone and all of that. But the EFCC as a body decided to defend the character of Mr. Abdul Rashid Bawa, saying that no, he's never been found wanting, he has exemplary character. And a few people personal that know him personally also, words around that, this is a unique person.
And there was also an issue for the fact that they were saying that one of the problems in the EFCC was the involvement of the police, and Bawa was a former police. So even though there was internal issue, contention about the fact that the police are always, in some cases, undermining the efforts of the EFCC, the president went to go and bring a former police to head
most of the personnel in the EFCC are usually drafted from the police. So that is why we have those, senior to Bawa in hierarchy in the EFCC will have to, some people are speculating that they will have to retire shortly, or some people will be, return to the police force.
Okay, let's take
the young person, and I realize that some people are not even talking about it enough, that we have the president that we said has always appointed older people, disappointed the younger person.
So there are two issues. Younger person, and there's always the issue of ethnic angle.
So this one, they tick the one for young. We ticked that one.
Okay, the human...
so NDLEA is at it again, catching criminals and drug barons.
You've been following, sir?
Yes, I'm following. I'm very interested in these stories. So this particular two gentlemen, no, they're not gentlemen, they're criminals. They pretended that they were the military, that they were soldiers, and they were stopped at the police checkpoint and thoroughly searched. Thankfully for the intelligence of the security operatives that searched them, they felt that they did not give up the vibe of being true soldiers. So they searched their vehicle properly and found that in every area, every nook and cranny of their car, they had stuffed drugs, cannabis especially.
Wow.
And of course, they have been paraded and arrested.
There's this trending story, just at the bottom of the punch there, about the chief judge of Ondo State having been, somehow influencing the trial of her supposed brother. She's responded to that video saying that this happened about 2 years earlier. He showed up at the time of her father's death. Of course, he's someone that is strange to the family, accused the family, insisted on them assuming the body for a DNA test, and then goes and shows up at the farm that one of the family members inherited and tried to take it over with thugs. So that was how he was arrested. That she's totally free of the allegations and that people are using him. So
okay, let's move very quickly now to the nation. North's governors rule out ethnicity in Ibadan mayhem. How Lagos will become smart city by 2030, Sanwo-Olu says at the Ehingbeti summit. Bawa's choice for EFCC chair breaks 18-year tradition. Nigerians living in fear, says Abdul Salami. So I listened in on the Ehingbeti. Sorry?
There was a story about Phil. You didn't even read that.
I'm sure we'll say it. I don't know.
You were going to Ehingbeti.
Yes, I was listening in on the Ehingbeti summit, and the picture of Lagos State governor actually painted on Lagos State is actually quite inspiring. Because when you listen to it, you think, Lagos, no,
this is not Lagos.
They're going to have the broadband, all of us are going to have, there'll be access to internet access for schools, homes, public facilities. They're going to have the blue line, the red line. They're going to have about 34 million people taking those transportation every single month. They have that amount of people. They're going to have electricity. He built this lovely picture that I feel that it's good to hear inspiring words, and sometimes you can aspire to. I just hope that in this plan they find a way to incorporate young people in it, because Adesina had said, reemphasized the fact that the youth are assets. Yes. They're not a problem. And I think Okonjo-Iweala also echoed the fact that they need to empower the youth and create jobs. So this beautiful picture is great, but we must infuse the young people's their expertise within this new Lagos that they are building.
Also, must make it holistic. You must cover Lagos and the real Lagos.
And the real Lagos.
He's covering the whole Lagos.
No, I'm not saying
Lagos for a greater Lagos.
A greater Lagos as Lagos.
Don't worry, it's coming to your side.
People are already
a major headline. So
yes.
You remember yesterday we took that the four northern governors had gone to meet with the Oyo State governor, and they had a meeting. They met with the Ibale of Shasha and also the Sedki of the area as well, and they were able to speak to people in the community, and they are saying categorically that after the tour, that there's no that ethnicity is not the cause of the tension that happened there, but the fight for leadership within the market. And so anybody here in the South, West, and up north hearing all sorts of stories, they should just be rest assured that that's not the case. And they went also to Ogun State, where they were received by the Ogun State governor as well as the Ondo State governor. So just as we said yesterday, just echoing the fact that it's important that you have a presence like that on ground. And it seems that the governors are working together to allay all fears, you know. So people, even at home and abroad, understand that what is important is there's no fight based on ethnicity in this case.
Moving on now to Vanguard. Prove you don't support criminality. Southwest governors tell federal government. Insecurity. Abdulsalami warns of Nigeria's imminent disintegration. Clark, other Niger Delta leaders, militant lambast Gumi. Food inflation rises 20.6%. Which story are we taking? I read the major headline. The fact that I think it was governor of Ondo State that was saying that the federal government should prove that they actually don't endorse criminality. They need to see the president demonstrate that, and I think we've been echoing that since last week. And I think Afenifere also agrees with him that yes, it was quite a bold statement. But and he also said that Sunday Igboho is a child of circumstance. You know that nobody is going to support illegality, but he reacted based on what happened in his community. And I think every other person, I think the sports minister also added his own. The objective really was to say that Southwest will protect itself, but they need the federal government to also demonstrate that they don't support criminality and give them all the necessary support to be able to fight the criminal elements. They're not fighting the ethnic people living legally within their communities. No, they are fighting those who are armed, and who are causing mayhem in their communities. That's who they are fighting, and that the government.
But we have a major issue: food inflation. So for the 17th consecutive month, our food inflation rate has increased to 20.57%. We have our national inflation rate at 16.47% consecutively. Prices of food continue to go
I think you should say it in plain English. What you used to buy for 1,000, you now buy for 2,000.
Thank you.
And it's something, according to their own statistics, they said 20%. The reality on ground is everything is about 100% more expensive as compared to a year before now. And that is impacting on.
And this is not allegation. This is according to the National Bureau of Statistics.
Exactly.
So these are facts. I think the government should please.
We all go to the market now.
And they've started paying subsidy on petroleum products. Talk about was going to take the story.
Yes, I was going to take the story because NNPC has come out to say that there is not going to be any increase in the pump price. As we know, crude oil prices have gone up to above $60 per barrel, which should actually reflect on what we are paying, what we're paying for consumption of petrol. But the EFCC is saying that people should not do any panic buying, neither should they be ordering fuel. That they have, NNPC is saying that we have enough fuel for the next 40 days, and that the government has no plan to increase pump price within the next 40 days.
Yesterday.
But here is the thing that Nima mentioned. Based on that, we are buying fuel. The calculations will not work. It means there's likely going to be payment of subsidy.
So my question is, what do you Nigerians want?
We're not complaining. No. I said the price is likely going to go up. Yes. The government is saying it will not go up. If it doesn't go up, it means subsidy is being paid. If it goes up, we know that that's what we signed up for.
So the Minister for Petroleum, for State for Petroleum, what's his name again, has confirmed in yesterday's report that we couldn't take because of time, that they're not paying about 11-point-something billion naira per day. So in a week we pay 1-point-something billion naira per day, and in 2 weeks we paid 11-point-something billion naira subsidy for fuel since the increase of crude oil per barrel. And the reality is that marketers have increased today to 170 naira per litre of fuel.
So the government is making a decision while losing on both ends. The government is losing by paying subsidy.
My question again,
Nigerians are still suffering.
What do you want?
Morayo, because we are paying the subsidy already.
Remove subsidy.
The point is, we told them to remove. Okay, so that's what we want to remove. But then the pump price increases, and the same people who complain, they've increased, so Labour will not come, TUC will come, everybody will come, they've increased, don't dare it.
Because it is not rocket science that we need refinery as an oil producing.
We know that. That is
you just want an emergency now.
You build overnight.
No, build overnight. Why not giving 20.5 billion?
The government said that we were going to have modern refinery.
Is it our
Dangote is already building.
No, why would you
Dangote is
not the president of this country now. He's a private businessman.
The point I'm making, let us not talk with two sides of our mouth. 1 second, remove subsidy. Until Now the money is increasing. I am complaining. It's increasing. Is it solve refinery? Okay, we'll do refinery. Is it going to overnight? They've not done the refinery.
This is it. If you spend 11 billion in 2 weeks to pay subsidy,
yes.
How much is a refinery?
Okay,
it's
200,000 naira. It's 200,000 naira.
They are modern
refineries.
Smaller refineries.
No, with 100 billion dollar will have it.
Yes, it's a rowdy money. I think I have to go on a break. We've lost it. Because I don't... On fact, that's what we can take on front page review.
Are you sure? No, you don't have story.
We'll be right back.
Bye-bye.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're getting news right now that some students and staff of Government Science Secondary School, Kagara, headquarters of Rafi local government area of Niger State, have been abducted. I mean, it's breaking news right now, and I heard it happened 2 a.m. at night, and we're following on the story. This is one of those things that is not new in Nigeria now, and it's a very painful updates from our own part, but we'll keep monitoring the story and find out if there are any updates from the security operatives. But that was the news that's just reaching us right now, and we just want to let our viewers know that we don't know a number. We don't have a number yet, but it says that students and the teachers were abducted.
I thought we should have gotten past this. Too many schools have
Honestly,
been ransacked for many years.
Niger State is in the spotlight now for the wrong reasons. Too many abductions in Niger State. Just last week, some passengers in a bus were taken, except for a mother and child. 2 days ago, they had another report of... just yesterday, you took the report. Of another one, and then this morning by 2 a.m. So... It
correlates what Abdulsalami said. Abdulsalami is saying that this country is descending.
See, I don't like that what Abdulsalam said. I don't know. I don't think we should continue to re-echo. But let us go back to what the story is saying. It said that the witness said a student who tried to escape was shot dead, while some others sustained injuries. But Daily Trust cannot independently verify this claim. So I'm reading from Daily Trust's website. Commenting on the abduction, Shehu Sani, a former senator, said he has spoken with the principal of the school who confirmed the incident. So it's the developing story. We'll give you an update on it as soon as we have it. But let's move on to our topic for today. Right. So the rising insecurity in the country, especially in the southwest states, have been quite alarming. I mean, we read the papers earlier today where all the governors, some governors from the north came down to south to meet with their counterparts on the issue of insecurity. Now, the recent rise of insecurity have led to the point where we need to know exactly what the Obas are doing. What are the security architecture available for them, and what kind of help do they need from the federal government? Well, we'll be having with us our special guest. In addition to that, recently there have also been allegations that some traditional rulers are also complicit in the issue of attacks around the southwest. So we have with us the Imperial Majesty, paramount ruler of Iwoland, Olowu Of Iwo. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Good to have you. Kabiyesi, welcome to the show, sir.
How are you today?
Very, very good.
Good morning. How are you today?
Well, very well, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for joining us this morning, because we are quite concerned about exactly the role of the Obas within the southwest, especially on the issue of insecurity. We've been living peaceably with many, many different tribes in the southwest. But in recent times, there have been quite a lot of uproar of issues. I'd like to know from your own constituency, what's the relationship like in the community, and have you heard of violence within Iwo land so far? Okay, we're having some technical issues, but let's converse on this a bit. What are your general thoughts on I mean, especially now, let's go back to what the paper said. You know, the fact that after the northern governors came to the southwest, they realized that this was kind of blown out of proportion. There was actually what was the core of the contention and conflict was leadership. There was leadership tussle. Had nothing to do with ethnicity, but somehow some unscrupulous elements blew this out of proportion. There was a young lady that even said it was even posted on social media. People this has been brewing for a while, and now people have left that community in droves Northerners have left in droves. And that's not what we want, because we benefit from
They
each
didn't
other.
leave.
The carelessness.
Wait, I saw
They
some
were,
videos.
they were kicked out. They were escorted out, and they were mocked out in the video that we saw.
Yes.
So
Somebody
they
made a video, and I
willingly
understand my Yoruba is at least, I heard how he was cursing and, kicking them
Yes.
out, our own fellow humans.
Yes.
I feel that it is unwanted, is wrong in every way. I remember growing up, I have cousins who are, I think, they're fourth generation, grew up in the southwest in a city called Ibadan. My mother's family has a big family, and we even have a title in Ibadan, in the area where the family house is. And that's how I've always known them. So these are not new things. We've always coexisted peacefully around the country until recently when we left some things unanswered.
I'm told Kabiyesi is back. Kabiyesi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
How are you?
Very well, sir. So we're asking earlier, what is it like in your own community? The violence we've been hearing about, the insecurity we've been hearing about has been in Ogun State or your state. We haven't heard much, shown, especially in your own domain. Could you tell us exactly how things are within your own domain and how you relate to Northerners within your communities?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. I say good morning to everyone. In my community, there are pockets of issues everywhere. Everywhere in Nigeria, there's problems. And I commiserate and I condole with people that lost their lives everywhere in Nigeria, in the southwest, because there is problem everywhere in Nigeria. But in Iwo, we manage it. In Osun State, we do manage it. There are many Fulani and Bor committee that was put in place. But in my own, in my domain, any issue that is happening, they come to the palace. There are some other kings at the suburbs under me. They resolve it. Things that cannot be resolved, they can bring it to my palace, and I will resolve it. But one thing is that leaders have to learn to integrate with the people. Leaders should not just sit down. Kings also, we kings, we are the one closer to our people more. We should not just sit down in the palace. We should visit our wards and subjects more. And so when
Network issues.
So my challenge is, I'm happy to know that there are still communities where they've been able to find a way to create the semblance of peace, because he's saying that largely within Osun State, they haven't had clashes like that.
I'm trying to start can you hear me?
We lost you for a moment, sir. We lost
Hello?
you yeah. But go ahead. We're having some connection issues.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Leadership issues is a lot of problems here. We are not close to our people enough already, especially when it comes to royalty and kingship. Then the government too has to help the kings by giving them constitutional powers to help them to resolve issues. We are the closest to our people, but without no power, like a toothless dog. We can't be like that forever. We are closer to our people more than anyone, more than even the local government chairman or the politicians are different from kingship. Royalty, our people, we have to be, the paramount rulers, especially the paramount rulers in Nigeria, we need to, there must be some constitutional powers given to them.
Right.
And I wish that President Muhammadu Buhari and his government can do something about that.
Okay. Let me go on a quick break,
immediate,
sir.
Not something for long.
Right. Let me go on a quick
Okay.
break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with you, sir. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have His Imperial Majesty, Oba, paramount ruler, with us. Tokwe had a question before the break.
Yes, so you were talking before the break about the lack of constitutional role or constitutional backing for the Obas, and they are closest to the people, having the heart of the people. But we can't suddenly change that. For us to create a constitutional rule for the Obas will require the National Assembly, the state assemblies. We can't just, by fiat, create that rule. But we still know that the Obas are the closest to the people. What can the Obas do within the current constraints of lack of constitutional rights? What are the things that can be done? What should every Oba do that you are already doing? And what would you advise people to embrace so that we can resolve these issues from the grassroots level?
The kings are the only one that can resolve the problem that is going on in Nigeria right now. And there must be synergy. We have to work together. And most especially, we have to like play more role in just not thinking about only the haves we have to deal with. The have-nots, like for instance, there was a time I called a dinner, a party for the so-called, what the society called thugs, miscreants. I called them to my palace, and I have a party for them, kill cows for them, and I talked to them, counseled them, because I believe that the society didn't care about, especially leaders and kings, never do that. But when you integrate the so-called, the people that they call thugs and miscreants, there's something that makes them do that. So, and anybody can change anytime. So, how do we change them?
Okay.
And the way we can change them is for leaders and kings like me, because what I'm doing now is I see a lot of a problem and a vacuum between the leaders and the so-called masses.
Right.
And what I'm doing now is to prepare a future. I am not passing the failure of the past to the next generation. The new generation kings, we have to pass what is called, how do we succeed? These bandits of today, who created them? Society created them.
Okay, let me pause you for a second, because there's a lot we want to cover with you today. So let me move on very quickly.
Yes, a lot of people have accused kings and obas and bales of being involved in the clashes that are happening in these communities. And I know a lot of royalty may say, well, we're not arming them, but sometimes it's in the words that we say to them. What sort of conversations are we having in closed-door meetings that may be fueling tensions, ethnic tensions with people and neighbors that we have lived with for so long? Secondly, you mentioned that in your community and in Osun State, you haven't had those clashes yet, or you haven't had those clashes at all. And for me, I'm thinking, is it that you are not going to have them, or you haven't had them yet? And what are the conversations, what are the meetings that the Obas are having, that the rulers are having in Osun State, in the different communities, to prevent, the spread of these tensions into these communities?
It's not that we don't have issues. We do have issues, but we resolve them. Most especially the farmers and herders issue. The only thing that can solve that one is because we have neglected some people for too long. When you neglect people in the bushes, when you don't go on, when you didn't counsel them, you didn't tell them to come into the town. When you neglect people in the bushes for too long, what do they become? They become animals. So when you see people living in the bush and nobody has ever cared for them, they don't have electricity, they don't have water, they don't have no amenities, no social, nothing. We just started giving them school, which is nomadic school. There is no secondary school, no primary school in the bushes. So these kind of people, and we employ them sometimes as maids, as security guards. And if you employ these people as maids and security guards, and they've been there for long, believe me, there's fire on the mountain. The chicken can come home to roost. because they know everything about you already, but you never cared for their generation.
Right. Okay.
In a community, it is not only the people that comes from Iwo that lives in my community. Exactly. Immigrants come from everywhere. Even my community is immigrant-based. People come from Oyo, Ogbomoso, people come from Kano, people come from many places. Exactly. So you can see that there was a time I dressed like an emir, yes. And there was a time I dressed like an Igbo Eze, and I dressed as an Oba. But this is to show unity and to show the people that I rule over that we are one. Right. And I care for them. Okay. And that's why I visit the Fulanis every time. I visit their Ga, I visit the Sabo, I visit even my wards, my subject. Right. Normally they say kings don't do, people will say kings don't do that. Yeah, old kings don't do that. But these are new generation and we want to be great leaders. Right. We want to be leaders for our people, right, and integrate with people who don't have. They ask and they have not. Right. You don't just say you only want to deal with people who are well placed in the society. Okay, let me get a few more questions in for you, sir. Point taken. Yeah, go ahead. Let me get a few more questions in for you. What are you saying? Let me get a few more questions in for you. Go ahead. Okay.
Okay, Kabiesi. In every community in Nigeria, you continue to see each ethnicity represent themselves in their own leadership. So, in the Igbo communities in Iwo, for instance, you have their own Ezendigbo. You have the Fulani have their own Serikin Fulani within your community. And based on what happened recently in Sasha, it made me wonder if those new heads are clashing with the paramount rulers of each of those communities. Are those the kind of fears that are fueling this ethnicity also that we're having?
Did you get that? Kabiesi, did you get Nima's question?
Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Okay. One thing, the question is still based on what I just said. Now, even though you have immigrants, you have people that live in your community of different ethnic background, the king, is he adopting them as his own children? Is the leaders adopting them, or you are thinking, oh, they are from this ethnic tribe? What about their welfare? Are you thinking about them? Are you calling them to the palace to make them know that they are part of this community now? Where they come from. If somebody comes from Kano and he has been living in my domain for 40, 50, 100 years, he is not from Kano anymore. He's from Iwo. His origin is Kano.
So my question,
he originated from Kano, but he is from Iwo now because he is an Iwo man now. Right. So I have to treat him as a child, and when I treat him as a child, I have to look at what about his welfare. There must be counseling. Right. I am very close to I'm very, very close.
Kabiesi, Nima wants to rephrase her question so you can understand exactly what she's trying to drive at. Go ahead.
Kabiesi, I'm talking about clash of authorities now. Because, when the people base they have their Ezendigbo for the Igbos and the Seriki for the Fulani, it means that that's the authority that they choose to recognize within the community. One of the issues that happened in Sasha is because of such clashes. Are those the issues fueling this ethnicity across the Yoruba land presently? Especially the one in Sasha and Ibarakwa.
Okay. Like the one you are talking about, when we have an ethnic tribe, all of them do, like the Igbos, they have their Eze, who I have to install it. I install an Eze Indigo for Iwo land. I install the Cherokee of the Fulani because they say the word for Cherokee is for king. They are king in Iwo land. The same thing Yorubas in Kano do have their Oba, and it's been installed by the Emir also, everywhere. And so their leaders is the one I will call. Issues that their leaders cannot resolve, then they come to me. There is a process traditional way of settling things.
Yeah.
And the traditional way of settling things, because the African mind is about monarchy system. Though this kind of government system that we have, which is the British system, is okay, is because of some mistakes in the past, and selling of slaves and stuff like that. But now we have the British system, but the mindset of an African man is still about royalty.
Right.
It's still about the traditional system.
Okay, Kabiasi, let me tell you what my worry is. I have a worry that there's a lot of misinformation out there, because the truth is, the governor of Ondo State had said that they are armed headsmen. These are the ones they have issues with. But there are Fulani or Northerners doing legitimate work within the Southwest, and those ones are welcomed. But the problem is that the Southwesterners are now thinking, oh, this is an all, a free-for-all against a certain, maybe Northerners. And so there's a need for a channel of communication to the people living in South, that they're not fighting Northerners. The issues the governors had raised repeatedly are those who are armed and they are living in the forest. So how are you and your colleagues, the other monarchs, communicating to their members that there's no war, there's no ethnic war against any group? The issue is those who are armed and killing people in the forests, from the forest.
First of all, I'm going to talk about Iwo, my own immediate community, because when you talk about monarchs, we don't have like a Yoruba Council of Obas for Southwest, where every monarch can sit down, and all the monarchs in the Southwest can sit down and talk about this. Each state has their own council, council of Obas. So let me talk about my place. In my own place, we have bandits. We have bandits. That's infiltration of because Fulanis and Hausas, we have Sabo there, and the Fulanis that have been living with us for centuries, not only decades, for centuries. We've had, in Iwo, we've been having Fulani. There's one of my forefathers that is called Alausa. We've been having Fulanis for over 400 years. I have Fulani in my domain. 17th century, early 17th century. And we've been living, they've been very nice and good and great people. But then, I'm still talking about when you neglect people in the bushes for so long, not all of them wants to be herders. Not all of them wants to be rearing cows for life. Some of them have been exposed to different kind of life. And then they're still living in the bushes. But then we have infiltration of, like in Yewa and Igongon, where these issues are happening now. Those are borders. Yewa didn't border the northern something. Yewa borders like Cotonou and something. So you have remnants of terrorists that are still, they are Fula, some of them are Boro, some of them are the Fula from Mali, Fula from Sierra Leone, from Liberia, because Fulanis is a large tribe. The Fulanis in Nigeria don't speak the same language, the same dialect as the other ones. We have Bambara from Mali, we have in Mauritania, in many places, and then we have these so-called terrorists from Libya, the remnants of Gaddafi's issues. And they came, when they came, they had the AK-47. And then when there are issues, the only what can solve the herders and farmers issue right now is education, educating people about ranching. And what I have told the government, and I have said it several times, is to educate the Fulani that the nomadic way of life of rearing cows on the road is no more in vogue. 2020, it is the 21st century. Right. Yeah. There is no more rearing of cows. People have ranches. Right. Even cows are not healthy when they roam the streets. Right. Because when a cow goes 20 miles, goes almost 20 miles all the way and then come back, it's going to still get hungry.
All right. So let me go on a quick break, sir. I have to run. When I come back, we'll continue this conversation with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we still have Oba of Iwo land with us as our guest. Yes, Tokwe had a question.
I don't think that he got your question appropriately. So, at the core of it, sir, what Morayo and I think everybody wants to know is the fact that there is a message being propagated by locals on the ground that the southwestern people are fighting the Fulanis and the northerners, and that's not it. The statements have been against armed men. So what we want to know from you is, how do you have armed Fulani men in your community, and how can we ensure our message is targeted at the people who are armed and not against those that are peacefully living in our communities?
One thing I tell people is you should prosecute criminals, prosecute and punish for their crimes, but not the tribe. The Fulani tribe, we've been having them for a long time, and amongst us, they are the best. They're very nice, doing the best. In Yoruba, we have some, you see, what I have said today. Anyway.
Freezing again.
Yeah, technical.
Okay. Kabesi, are you there? It's freezing. Okay. He's probably still talking, right?
Probably.
All right. Kabesi, we can't hear you if you can hear me at this time. So, Nima, we'll try to see if we can maybe even call him up. Since we're already seeing his face,
Yeah,
we can have a phone conversation. Maybe he can disconnect the Zoom and then we can call him and have a conversation with him via phone. That might be better. But, yeah.
I just wanted to say, sometimes when we hear things like the video we saw where they were sending people out of communities, I say people have lived together for so many years. They're intermarriages. They're speaking the same language. I mean, there's some Hausas, Fulanis that when you hear their Yoruba, I'm sure it's better than Morayo's own. I can assure you. Don't eye me. But, how then what do you do? Do you take away a child from a father who is Yoruba and a mother who is Northern? Or, how do you now get to the point where you're saying, leave my community after so many years? I really wanted Kabiesi to talk about what he feels about the governors coming, and just showing their support for the way that Oyo State is handling this. And to see, and also he mentioned that there's no council of Obas in the Southwest. Maybe that's a conversation that they should have, so that sometimes when you have a council like that and a strong voice and a strong message, the people all over Southwest are saying, see, our Obas, they are agreed, all of them have agreed upon this, and this is the message that they are sending. I just want to know what strong message that they are all giving.
I would love to see a clarity done on, the authorities. So I find it funny that, there's an Oba and then there's a Seriki. Because it was a feudal system. It was about who controlled land. That's how rulership came about.
No, but he's saying that the Oba appoints...
He installs them. Yes. But the roles conflict because the people then trust who they want to trust. So if I speak a particular language and I can communicate with my Seriki, I would trust my Seriki.
Oh, yeah.
And if my Seriki is interpreting the wrong thing to the Oba, there will be a problem. So, do you understand? So I would love that, as he mentioned, he talked about...
Kabesi is back.
Oh, okay.
Kabesi, are you back?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good to have you back. So,
what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
My process in Iwo and what I would like the federal government to replicate is I have made an announcement that any Fulani who is willing to relocate, that they are being chased anywhere, can relocate to Iwo. And my own plan is to give them an identity. There must be a data and identity. I will take their pictures, take their names, and give them an identity card, which it will read Fulani Iwo or Hausa Iwo And also, from there, we'll start our own people too, who are Yorubas. We can have a database and identification process for everybody.
Right.
And I can identify people who are around me. And if there is when somebody knows that you took their picture and you took their something, they know there's an awareness now, unconscious mind, that I have to tell something here.
I mean, so that's similar to what Governor Akeredolu was saying.
Identification process is very, very good, right. And I believe the federal government should, and we should take care of these Fulanis more, put more funding in their, in their community. When there was a problem in Niger Delta, we did for them. We have to take care of these Fulanis in the bushes, in the forest.
All right, let me take a few more questions for you.
Kabiyesi, sir.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier that, some of these tribes have existed for over 40, 50 years. Some have existed for centuries in your community. I still feel that, by now they will be used to the culture, the language, even though they know where they originated from, which is okay for history. But would there be a clash if they continue to have their own leaders within small cell communities in a community that has its own leaders or paramount rulers?
Are we all living together in love? Does the Yoruba man consider himself as the same thing as Nigerians? Every time we are only Nigerians outside the shores of this country. But when we are in Nigeria, then you say, oh, he's an Hausa man, he's this man, he's this man. That is not the way. There must be love. We have to love each other.
Please, Mariam said something when we were having connection issues concerning how can you drive somebody that you've been together for a long time. What I realize is that I don't think anybody is driving people they know. I think those that are having, that the contention is between people we don't know, people we cannot identify.
To make money rituals, we have soccer. And we have to care about all this. Leaders and kings need to even take care of ritual murders is happening. That one kills more than even civil war or world war. Every day, like 3,000 to 4,000 people dies every day because of ritual murders. And then we have to take care of ourselves. We have to know what's going on. Why are people dying?
Obviously, 3,000 people die where? Across the country?
No, for ritual murders.
Right.
Ritual murders. It's people are selling. There are some people who use this for business. 40,000 or 100,000 from one human being. And when somebody knows that you can use that for a daily bread, it's really alarming. What is going on everywhere? It's not only the full.
Okay, let me go on a quick break.
It's not only the Fulani Earthman issues. Though is the problem right now. And we are talking about that one, but I want you to know that we need to care for each other.
Right. I think you
be your brother's keeper.
Right. I think you've sounded out pretty loudly. Let's go on a quick break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Kabiyesi, thanks for joining. Are you still there with us, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
So, as we wrap up on this issue of insecurity, there was an issue that kept coming up, and I'd like to hear your views. It has nothing to do with Iwo, but it's a general comment that until we find the owners of these cows who are equipping these herdsmen with AK-47, we're not going anywhere with this issue. So, I would like to hear your own Ogwagba in this. How do we begin to identify these owners? Because that's one of the reasons why certain elements are saying our obas, our leaders are complicit because they are the ones equipping these people with these rifles. In your view, how do we address this speculation?
If any Fulani herdsman is found with AK-47, that's an assault rifle. It's not just a gun. Assault rifle is meant for wars, and even in Nigeria, there are many. We've seen our officers that carry some AK-47, but AK-47 legalized for even personal protection. So for for somebody, a Fulani herdsman, to have AK for the prosecuted, and yeah, you see, like I said, everybody in a Nigerian is
We can't hear you, sir.
allowed to stay anywhere.
Yes.
We lost you for a moment.
So everybody is allowed to stay anywhere.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Go ahead, please, sir.
Okay. Anybody found with AK-47, that's a criminal. A criminal must be prosecuted, and the law must come on them. But we can't leave criminals to go, but only, like I said, you can arrest criminals, but don't be talking about tribe. Every tribe has their own people that has bad.
Okay. Let me take a few tweets for you, sir.
Among every tribe. But
Go ahead,
in empowering most of us.
Okay, we have some tweets. Alice Wang Palm says, I strongly think the use of Sarkin or Oba for community leader is wrong. The title of Oba or Sarki connotes a tribal leader who has ancestral tie to a particular domain. And for us in the North Central, it's at the core of the issue that we see today snowballing into crisis. Olamide says, I think it's the same in other parts of the country. A major problem is the herdsmen, and I think the president should be blamed for his failure to do something and come out seriously in the open to stop the herdsmen from their criminal activities. He should be honest and take serious actions against them.
Okay.
Okay, so Wahab says, I think the Oba exaggerated when he said 3,000 people are being killed daily for in ritual killings. Omodele says, I feel the most paramount thing is to live in love and peace. We are one Nigeria, irrespective of tribe. I am a Nigerian before an Ogun indigene.
Okay.
Mafia, okay, you want to do?
No, I'm going ahead to say, Kabiyesi just recently celebrated your 5th year anniversary. And so congratulations, sir.
We hear your 5 years.
Yes,
Lori
on the
Oye.
throne.
Congratulations, sir.
Yes. Yeah. But there's something that you always say. I hope he's still there.
Are you there, sir? Kabiyesi, did you hear us?
I'm here now.
We're greeting you.
We're congratulating you on your 5th year anniversary on the throne, sir.
Thank you.
It's
a great 50. Thank you very much.
Yes. There's something
I'm
that
so
you always...
happy for my 5 years anniversary.
Okay.
Very happy because of in 5 years I've achieved a lot for my community. I've changed the face of my community. I have empowered a lot. I'm closer to my people. I've brought infrastructural growth. I've brought a federal college of education. I have, a lot. I've brought more private universities. I've done roads. Have been done. There are many infrastructural growth is. I think Iwo is one of the fastest growing towns in Nigeria today, because of thank God for my leadership and people that work. We are moving,
right,
and we've been moving.
Yeah.
I do things even by myself sometimes, and I don't take nothing from my people. Nothing.
No taxes.
I have never sold a plot of land, not even one plot or half plot.
Okay, let me.
I don't take nothing from them, and I take.
Yes, Kabiyesi, there's something you always talk about when you talk about yourself. You say, well, you're a modern king, you're not an old-time king. Why is it important to be a modern king? Why isn't it as important as following tradition the way it's meant to be followed?
I'm a conservative progressive. It means my stool is old. But then tradition goes with time, is dynamic. You have to always polish it. You can leave things back, and if I leave things back in the ancient time, then we won't be in great houses today. We'll be using mud and palm fronds to build our palaces. Those don't happen again. All those belong to So history can be only reference. It cannot be applied. You have to have your own. You have to write your own history. Our fathers wrote their own history, and their history, yeah, that's part of our history, and we will know about it.
Right.
But then the new king has to write his own history too,
right,
on how to be great and to make.
Go ahead.
Obviously, the past 5 years have not been without some, trials and challenges. Can you share with us some that you had and how you, surmounted them? I see the love that you experience, you enjoy from your subjects.
That don't make no sense in the 21st century.
Yeah. Kabiyesi, we lost you for a minute, sir, so we didn't hear what you said.
Can you hear
but
me?
Nima threw in another question, which I think is important. Go ahead, Nima, say that again, please.
Okay. Kabiyesi. Okay. Kabiyesi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I said the past 5 years...
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, the past 5 years that you've been on the throne has not been without challenges and some, trials. And you've been able to surmount most of them or all of them. How do you want to share with us how you were able to do that? And, how you've been able to gain the love, because I see the love and support you enjoy from your subjects. How were you able to gain that love as well?
I give all the glory to God, but I can tell you that the wisdom of God, people are not used to new things, changes. And when people want us to be in the...
We're having serious technical issues. Oh, I would have loved to hear the answer to that question. Kabiyesi, we can't hear you again. I do apologize. Do we have any tweets while we're waiting for Kabiyesi to get connected?
So the tweets, Ashikwa James says, as suggested by the Oba, traditional rulers should push for the National Assembly to amend the Constitution to give them legitimate functions as different from their current advisory rules. Someone is saying, I love my two-shoba, and he loves how we dress, and they're commending the ladies for the #Ngozi challenge.
Kabiyesi, we lost you for a minute. Are you there? We still don't have him.
I'm here with you.
Yeah, so you're talking about the challenges you've had in the last 5 years. Please tell us.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How have you been able to overcome those challenges?
As a leader, you have to know that when you bring change, people are not used to change. It's like when we tell our people not to do genital mutilations anymore. The person that is doing that business will fight you. It's like when we tell our people not to have tribal marks anymore. The person that is doing tribal marks, that's his own business, is going to fight you. So people that want us to stay in darkness, that eat from darkness, would like to fight the light. I am bringing light to our people. I'm working together with many of our citizens that want changes. Because what I met on the ground, this is what we met. And it has not been worked. So how do we make changes? And in 5 years, believe me, I can laugh today because I can go back in 5 years and say, I have done great for my people. And that's why I look into the future. In 30, yes. Can you hear me?
Kabiyesi, one cannot deny the fact that you have brought a lot of visibility to your throne. Everybody knows what you're Iwo now. We see you, you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're very, very visible. And I know that it comes with its own negativity, but you've had a lot of negative stories specifically about you. 5 years down the line, what's the new course you're charting for your throne? How do you want your throne to be perceived? What's the image you want to leave in people's mind concerning your throne as an Oba?
The new changes that we brought that people are not used to, now they know that this is a king that actually brought some changes to his own people. So people are now knowing, and in 5 years they've seen the success. I'm telling you, I can beat my chest. That so much achievements, greatness. We are brought to Iwo, and my people love me, and I love them.
We know your people love you. Okay, Kabiyesi, we have to run. We are running out of time. But Olorinko, when are we getting married?
Yeah, it's going to be a surprise. It's coming.
Please don't be surprising us like that. We want to groom her. We want to get her ready. We were hoping that
No
Valentine
problem.
will bring her. And then see how you are
you,
grinning
man.
on international television.
There's somebody.
There's somebody.
There is definitely somebody.
Because when he's smiling, there's somebody in the
You're
office.
coming to my. Don't worry. I'll invite
We'll be invited for the ceremony.
you. I'm gonna invite you.
Don't worry. All right, we have to go, sir. All right, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. No, I'll ask you about your wife.
Okay, bye.
All right, sir. God bless you. So that's all we can take. Honestly, I really hope that that the security operatives find something to do concerning these children that were abducted this morning. It's a quite sad, pretty sad story, and honestly, it's so painful when you hear these stories back to back. We're not finished Dapchi, the girl. We are still trying to understand. Niger State also have been prone to a lot of these abductions in recent times.
We have military officers abducted, stations, attacked.
Honestly,
President
Nima,
should please declare.
sleeping the last 1 month has been quite difficult. Anything I hear crap, I'm constant. I'm so scared, and it's so painful. But what are you going to do? This is Nigeria. I just only pray that the families, that these children get returned quickly, and that they're able to quickly get them back reconciled with their families.
Yes.
That's all we can take on the show this morning. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.